Happy Tuesday. We're at the end. So as I promised, I wanted to go over federal tax return and a state income tax return with you so that you can see how to do that by hand. There's a number of different programs, TurboTax, H&R Block, a number of websites that allow you to do that. But if you know how to do it by hand, you will have a leg up on everybody else. So first thing, all of you that have had a job have seen one of these. This is a W-2. I'm going to use the packet from last semester. But basically, W-2 is broken up into some different areas. Your federal withholding is going to be in this upper right area here. This is going to be the name of your employer. This is going to be your information, and then state and local is always going to be down at the bottom. The two most important things on this obviously is going to be your Social Security number and your withholdings. So this is the amount of money that was taken out during the year to prepay your taxes, right? Prepay your taxes. So for most of you, until you are on your own or out of college, you're going to be claimed by your parents. So the tax law was changed a couple of years ago, and so the form changed for the first time as well in a number of years. All of you are going to be using a 1040, Form 1040. And one of the things that you're going to need to be aware is that until you are providing 51% of your support or you're out of college on your own, your parent or guardian is probably going to claim you. So that's going to require that we do an extra worksheet for your federal return, but it's not going to be that difficult. So the first thing that you want to do is you can use pencil or blue or black ink. If you're going to use pencil, then you can go back over it and make that permanent. But as I said, on your W-2, you want to make sure that your Social Security number is right and that the withholdings that you've had throughout the year match what you had on your paycheck. All right, and so we're just going to use these fake Social Security number and name and address. You can use what you want. I'll attach the packet for this. So on your federal return, there's going to be a box for single, for married filing jointly, married filing separately, head of household, qualifying widower. Most of you are going to be single. Your legal name, first name, the first letter of your middle name, and your last name, along with your Social Security, are going to go up here at the top. All right, so I'm going to put down my name, and then I'll use the Social Security number, right, from the packet that we have. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This would be joint return, your spouse's name if you are married. Spouse standard deduction, obviously this would be filled out when you are married. Now, if your parents are claiming you as a dependent, they are going to be the one that gets your deduction, but that's going to save you from the medical health care coverage that is going to be required. So make sure that you check that box there. Next part that you're going to fill out down below is going to be your home address. As I said, we'll use what's in the packet. So this is going to be 123 Elm Street, anywhere else, Pennsylvania, 23456. All right, so here you're going to print that 123 Elm Street. Down here is where the city is going to go. Anywhere else. They ask you for the state and zip. So we'll put Pennsylvania here, even though we're going to do a California return. That's where we made our money. All right. And that finishes that portion there. This here, dependents are if you have children. The signature here, the date, your occupation would be when we are finished. So when you turn this over onto the back, what we have here is all of the information in terms of what we need to fill out for our return. So line 1 is wages, salaries, tips from your W-2. And basically, anytime that we have something here, what it's going to do is it's going to tell us where we can find that information on the W-2 or where within the packet. So in the packet, and this will be attached, as I said, it will go line by line and tell you exactly what you need to do. So here, this tells you about the Affordable Health Care Act and what your requirement is for that. But then when you get into, here's the different explanations of filing status, right? Here is a standard deduction worksheet, right? Use this worksheet only if someone can claim you or your spouse if filing jointly as a dependent, which is going to be us. Most of you are going to be claimed by your parents until then, and then we're going to have the tax tables where we look up everything that is required. So if we go back to here, right, these lines, as I said, all right, are going to be specific to what we have. It'll make sense when you see that. So when we go here, it's going to tell us line 1, $48,500 was our wages, tips, and compensation for the year. The prepaid tax was held out every paycheck, $6,835. Social Security wages was $50,000 for the year. Social Security tax is $3,100. This will be your Social Security retirement when you are of age. Medicare wages and tips, Medicare tax withheld. So Medicare is the health insurance provided by the government for those in the elderly bracket. And then you can see here, these are retirement plans, all right? And so that's where the difference between the $48,500 and the $50,000 come from. So if we take that information and we go to our second sheet, okay? Second sheet, line 1, wages, salary, tips, etc., attached W-2. Our wages, salaries, and tips is going to be $48,500, and you're always going to round up, okay? So if it had been $48,499 and basically 51 cents and over, you would have rounded that up, all right? Line 2 basically talks about tax-exempt interest. 3A is qualified dividends, IRAs, pensions, annuities, Social Security benefits. All of those for us, right, is going to be 0. You will get statements in the mail if any of those apply to you, all right? Now, taxable interest, ordinary dividends, taxable amount on all of those is going to be 0. And as I said, in your federal packet, you will have that information that is asked for line by line. So on 6, it says the total income, add lines 1 through 5, add any amount from Schedule 1, line 22. So when we look at that information, right, Schedule 1, line 22, if it is required, okay, if it's required, as it will be because we are a dependent, there'll be a schedule that you attached. Now for this, in terms of you being a dependent of somebody else, that's not going to be for you. So you're going to add for line 6, 48,500 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is going to be 48,500. And we did not have any amount from Schedule 1, line 22. So line 7 is your adjusted gross income. If you have no adjustments to income, enter the amount from line 6. Otherwise, subtract line 1, or Schedule 1, excuse me, line 36 from line 6. Well, we don't have any of that, so it is going to be 48,500 on line 7. So 8 says standard deduction or itemized deductions from Schedule A. Standard deduction, right, for single or married filing separately is $12,000. Married filing jointly or qualifying widower would be $24,000. Head of household would be $18,000. If you checked any bucks under standard deductions, see instructions there. So, as I said, most of you, until you are providing more than 50% of your support living on your own, your parent or guardian can and probably will claim you as a dependent. All this means is that it lowers your deduction for what you can claim until you are providing your own support. So that means all of you are going to have to do this standard deduction worksheet for dependents. This is going to go back onto line 8 of the back of the Form 1040. So it says, check if you were born before 1954, you're blind, your spouse was before 54, or your spouse is blind. All right, we don't have any of those boxes checked, so we're going to put a 0 right there. On 2, is your earned income more than $700? Right, earned income, we go back to our W-2, $48,500 is more than the $700 that they asked about, so we are going to mark that box yes, and that's line 2 on the standard deduction. All right, now it says add $350 to your earned income, enter the total. So you're going to add $350 to your total of $48,500, and remember that $48,500 comes from, right, the $48,500 comes from line 1 on our W-2. So $48,500 plus $350 is going to be $48,850 here on line 2 of our dependent worksheet. Now, on 3, it's going to ask, enter the amount shown below for your filing status. $12,000 for single or married filing separately, $24,000 for married filing jointly, or $18,000 for those who are head of household. You are going to be single, so you are going to put in $12,000 right there. All right, that $12,000 goes again, as I said, on line 3. So line 4 is standard deduction. 4A says enter the smaller of line 2 or 3. If born after January 1st, 1954 and not blind, stop here, enter this amount on the form 1040, line A, otherwise go to 4B. So if you were born after 1954, which all of us are, this is where you're going to stop. So it asks you to enter the smaller. The smaller between line 2 and line 3 is line 3. So 12,000 is going to go here. And they do tell you, right, this is going to be the amount that you enter on 1040 line A. So if you go to the back of this form on line 8, right, standard deduction or itemized deduction from Schedule A, this is going to be the amount that you put in. So that amount there is going to be 12,000. So 12,000 we got from our dependent worksheet, which most of you are going to have to do till you're supporting yourself or out of college. So that is going to go on line 8 right there. Okay, so we're going to put 12,000 right there. And then on 9, qualified business income deduction. All right, and this would be things for your business when you are working. We're not going to have any of those, so we're going to put 0. Taxable income, subtract 8 from 9. Okay, or subtract, excuse me, lines 8 and 9 from 7. If 0, enter 0. Okay, 0 or less, enter 0. So we're going to subtract lines 8 and 9. 8 and 9 together is 12,000 from line 7. So that is going to leave us with $36,500, right? So 12,000 minus 48,500. So that's going to be 36,500, and we put that right there. Okay, so once we've gotten to that point, we need to look and see what is the tax we should have paid on this amount. So basically, this is the amount of money that we made. This is the deduction that we get to take from the federal government based on our parents being able to claim us. This is the amount of money that we are going to be taxed on. So it's your money that you have made minus the deduction for being a dependent claimed by somebody else. So that means out of our $48,500 of income that we earned, we need to pay taxes on the amount of $36,500. And so what you would do is you would go to the tax tables that are provided. Now the tax tables are set up where they give you a range. Say $1,000 to $1,025. If you were filing single, you should have paid $101. All right. So we need to find out what tax we should have paid on $36,500. So when we go through our tax table, you can see here that these are our taxes that we should have paid. And you can see it's a range, $36,000, $36,050. It basically goes in $50 increments. So an income of at least, right? First column is at least, but less than. So at least 36,500, which is our number, but less than, all right, 36,550. If you are filing single, first column is going to be single, you should have paid $4,193 to the federal government prepaid. So what that means is that you're going to go back to the back side of 1040 right here on tax, and it tells you see instructions. The instructions in your booklet will tell you line 11 how to look that up. We're going to put in $4,193.00. You would have these forms based on other things that you might have owned. We do not have anything else, so we're going to put $4,193 on line 11. 12 is a child tax credit. We do not have any children. 13, it says subtract 12 from 11 if 0 enter less. So 0 subtracted, right? And 4193 is going to be on line 13. Line 14 is other taxes, Schedule A. Those would be other things that you might have had to pay a tax on. That doesn't apply to us. So now your total tax that you owe is adding lines 13 and 14. So that would be 4193 there. So federal income tax withheld comes from Form W-2 and your 1099. So what that means is that you're going to have to get your packet again, and in box 2, and it'll tell you in the directions of the Form 1040, what is the amount that you prepaid, right? So on there it asks you federal income tax withheld. That's the amount that you had taken out each time that you got a paycheck. That could be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. That would be the total for the year. So this amount right here is your federal income tax withheld. So this $68.35 is going to go on line 16. All right, that's our federal income tax withheld. So we had withheld 683500. All right. 17, refundable credits. These would all be things. Earned income credit, Schedule 8812, 8863. In the directions, it's going to tell you about that, but that is nothing that we had done. So we're going to put 0 here. And then what that means is that you're going to add 16 and 17. These are the total payments that you've made to the federal government to prepay your taxes. 0 plus 6835 is going to be 6835 on line 18. So what that means is, right, if we review this, we go back to your W-2. We made this amount of money for that fiscal year. This is the amount of money that we had paid, we're actually prepaid by having it withheld, and that amount there is the amount of taxes that we paid for that fiscal year. When we went to our worksheet, this is the amount of tax based on the amount of money that the federal government says, right, minus our standard deduction, we should have paid. So you can know right now we paid more than we should have paid. All right, so to finish up and decide whether we have a refund or whether we owe, we need to look at the amount that we prepaid, and you can get that information from your W-2. That's where we got the $6,835. That is the amount of money that we prepaid throughout the year for each of our paycheck deductions. We only owed a tax of $4,193. And so when you go down to line 19, it says if 18 is more than 16, subtract 16 from 18, this is the amount that you overpaid. So when we subtract $4,193 from $6,835, you're going to get an amount that is $2,642. That is the amount of money that we are going to get for a refund. So our refund again is $4,193, the amount that we owed, subtracted from our payments throughout the year, which was $6,835. That gives us a refund of $2,642 is what you'll put on line 19. If you submit your checking account information or savings account information, once the federal government accepts your return, you're going to get your money more quickly than if you ask for them to send you a check. It's going to be probably 4 to 6 weeks longer if you don't do that. So if you have a checking account or savings account, the routing number is going to be the first numbers on the bottom left of a check. The account number is going to be on the bottom right of your check. So when you are finished, the most important thing to do would be to sign and then date. Today's date is December 3rd, so I'm going to put 12/3/2020, and then your occupation would be student. You would also want to make sure that you double check all of your math and make sure that that's correct. If you're going to submit for an electronic refund, you would want to make sure that your routing number and account number are correct as well. When you mail this form in, you are going to staple a copy of your W-2 in the middle here to your return, and you're going to mail that in. Now, we do the federal return first because you cannot do the state of California return without having to do the federal return. But that's going to be the federal return, and that's how you're going to do that. On GoFormative, I'll have the packet if you want to practice that. This year, because of COVID-19, the tax date got moved from April 15th to July 15th. So you still have a little bit of time to, actually more than a month and a half, to get that done. Thanks.